Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Monday, May 20th. Jaguars OTA number 1 for the 2024 offseason is in the books. Had practice earlier today. We heard from Doug Peterson, Ryan Nielsen before practice, talked about the goals. We'll talk about all that stuff, talk about what we saw at practice today. The first practice with the rookies and the veterans both on the field. It was a little bit more competitive than what we saw at rookie minicamp. So again, we'll get into all of that here today. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear. You can also become a channel member right here on YouTube. Shout out to all the people out there supporting the channel by being members here. You can get some cool perks. Links in the description below. So, as I mentioned, we heard from Doug Peterson. We heard from Ryan Nielsen, both of them before practice. Doug Peterson said very plainly, the main goal of OTAs, organized team activities that are voluntary, is just to stay healthy, right? If you can stay healthy, that's the name of the game. And Josh Allen is not there. He wasn't there last year. This is a guy that has a good routine out there in Arizona. So he did show up earlier on in the offseason for the offseason program, voluntary, was with the team, all that good stuff. He's obviously not holding out. He just got paid very handsomely. So Josh Allen is working in Arizona. What he did last year worked pretty damn good for him last year. 17 and a half sacks, I believe. Franchise record. Yeah. I think Josh Allen can continue to do what he does in the offseason and continue to get himself ready for 2024. Found out that the Jaguars will have joint practices with the Bucs in week 2 of preseason. That will be in Jacksonville at Miller Electric, which is one of the things that the Jaguars wanted to accomplish by building this new practice facility, was being able to host joint practices at their own building, right? Usually when they have had joint practices in the past, they've done it at the opposing team's facility. The Bucs are coming to Jacksonville. They're going to have practice here, which will be great for the Jags. Will be fun to get out there and see, all the Bucs players. They've got a host of talented football players: Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Baker Mayfield, Tristan Wirfs, just to name a couple. I'll be honest, when I keep hearing Doug talking about the defensive side of the ball, their new regime with Ryan Nielsen coming in here as the defensive coordinator, I don't know if he's trying to kind of throw the prior defensive staff under the bus very much, but it comes off that way a little bit. He loves what Ryan Nielsen is doing. He talked about how his approach every day with the staff is outstanding, with the players is outstanding, the teachable moments every single day, the energy that he brings every day. So I think Doug Peterson is really fired up about the defensive side of the ball and what Ryan Nielsen is doing over there. That's pretty clear. And when you hear Ryan Nielsen talk, which we did today, spoke to him, he has, like Doug said, an energy, but also just the way he communicates is extremely effective. So I can understand why Doug likes him, why everyone that's worked with him has really appreciated and valued his coaching. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I do think, based on everything we've seen prior to him coming to Jacksonville, based on how things are going in Jacksonville right now, the defense appears to be heading in the right direction. We also have this funny bit, both Doug Peterson and Ryan Nielsen played into it today, that there's no depth chart yet. Fine, whatever, sure, okay. But we know that there is a pecking order. We know there are certain players that are starters on this football team. I'm not sure why we had to keep emphasizing that there is no depth chart yet, but they did want to harp on that a little bit today, so I thought I'd share it with y'all. I think that is a bit. I'm not sure why, but it's part of what they're doing this offseason, talking about not having a depth chart. Today we had a couple team periods, no pads, no hitting, but it was certainly more competitive than anything we've seen yet, anything you saw at rookie minicamp. We had to head inside with about 20-25 minutes left of practice just due to rain. I think Doug Peterson talking about, OTAs, the main goal is to stay healthy. Field was getting a little wet out there. You saw a couple guys slip, so they decided to head inside. Finish practice out in there. It is important to remember when I'm talking about this practice and the rest of these practices throughout the offseason that this is not real football yet. It is fun to get back out there. It's awesome to see the guys playing some ball, but it's not real football yet. There's no pads, there's no hitting. So just keep that in mind. Another big thing I wanted to touch on that Doug Peterson talked about today, Devon Hamilton. They said he's looking more like, pre-back issue Devon Hamilton, the guy that played really well in 2022 and then was having an insane 2023 offseason, training camp, preseason. He said you're seeing that Devon Hamilton right now, and he's put in a lot of work to get back there. That's an underrated storyline for the Jaguars. Like, if they get pre-back issue Devon Hamilton to go along with Eric Armstead, to go along with Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker and the rest of the depth that they've created on that defensive front, it's going to be a really, really good unit. It really is. Talking about Trevor Lawrence during this practice today, he was pretty sharp overall. Maybe like one blatant missed throw. Another one probably could have been thrown out a little bit ahead of Evan Ingram. Instead, it was behind him a little bit. But I thought Ingram could have caught it for a touchdown pass where Ingram beat Ronald Darby down the field. Brian Thomas Jr., obviously that is a huge storyline, how the first-round pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to perform throughout this spring and summer and then getting into training camp. He slipped once out there, dropped a pass in tight coverage, dropped another pass as well, but he did catch a touchdown pass outside. He also got physical later on in the practice once things moved inside with Tyson Campbell. Tyson ended up on the ground. Brian Thomas Jr. ended up in the end zone. So you saw some ups and downs, some inconsistencies. It was his first practice ever with the vets. I believe he will develop more consistency and confidence. You didn't see a super inconsistent pass catcher at LSU. Was he asked to do all that much in terms of the route tree and all that at LSU? No. But I think that the talent is there. You just got to build up the confidence and the consistency and the rapport, the chemistry with your quarterback, right? So overall, a little bit of an up and down practice for Brian Thomas Jr. You certainly saw the flashes of brilliance, but you saw a rookie as well. Now, somebody who was not inconsistent at all. They were awesome. Christian Kirk obviously had to have surgery to repair an injury last year. He did not look like he missed any time. He did not look like he skipped a beat. He looked like a wide receiver one, like a guy who deserves to be getting paid what he's getting paid, a guy who has earned every penny and wants to continue to do so. Christian Kirk was extremely crisp out there, just looked focused, locked in. Again, it's early, but Christian Kirk is a guy who you've seen be a consistent target for Trevor Lawrence every single time he's on the field for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You saw that again today. Another player who caught my eye at wide receiver is Devin Duvernay. Jaguars picked him up in free agency. Obviously, he's going to be a returner for the Jags, but as a receiver, he just looks like a pro. Very impressive hands, very impressive route running. He made a sick one-handed grab that I have over on my Twitter. I think it's also in the short today from Trevor Lawrence, throwing some passes out there at OTAs today in the short on the channel here, so you can go check that out. But yeah, sick one-handed grab in the end zone. I had to do a little sidestep so he didn't run into me, but it was a great catch, great shot there, and I think Devin Duvernay just looks like a guy who, if need be, can get the job done for you at receiver. And I don't know if they had that as consistently with Jamal Agnew, who was, super explosive with the ball in his hands, super electric, but was injured a lot and maybe wasn't as consistent as a receiver as maybe a player like Devin Duvernay can be. Ronald Darby, I mentioned that Evan Ingram got him once, but he looks really good to me. Very physically impressive. He looks like a pro's pro at this point. He's still got the speed. He's still got everything you want from a physical standpoint, but just looks like a guy who knows what he's doing out there. I think that's going to be good for the Jaguars. Tank Bigsby. Jaguars are expecting big things from him this year as the kind of 1B, not change of pace as much, but a guy who can run inside the tackles, a guy who can spell Travis Etienne. He looked really good running the football. He had 2 drops. And you saw, obviously, some ball control issues in 2023 during his rookie year. You really didn't see that at Auburn. So I'm going to chalk this up to, first practice back kind of jitters. I think that this is a talented football player who, again, looked really good running the football during the team portions of practice today. Mitch Morse, I will say this. There's no depth chart, right? There's no depth chart yet. But saw Trevor Lawrence taking snaps for Mitch Morse. So take that as you will. Always great to see Tyler Shatley back out there. I thought he was pretty energized. I think he's very thankful at this point to be able to continue to play football. I think that he looked really excited to be back out there, which is awesome. Longest tenured Jaguar. Gabe Davis was not there. He won't be there tomorrow either. Had a baby this weekend, so not there yet. He's obviously taking care of the family, spending time with his newborn, so congratulations to Gabe on that. Darnell Savage is officially listed at safety, even though the Jaguars have talked about him playing nickel, whatever. He's going to move around the formation a lot. And Ryan Nielsen talked about that. These Jaguars, they're going to have so much versatility, so many different roles for different guys on the defensive side of the ball. And Darnell Savage is no different, but he is officially listed at safety, which is where he played for Green Bay. Mason Smith, couldn't really see him. They kind of had the DTs off in the corner, the far corner of practice field. Jordan Jefferson, same thing. The back of the wide receiver room, want to talk about that. I think Parker Washington looks locked in the way he plays football. I don't think they're going to be able to cut Parker Washington, and he has special teams value as well as a backup there, as a potential punt returner. But I think beyond Brian Thomas Jr., Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Devin Duvernay, Parker Washington, I think you're going to have one more receiver in all likelihood. And to me, it's either going to be Joshua Cephas or Elijah Cooks. Both of those guys impressed me today. Cooks had a nice touchdown grab. Cephas looks like a natural route runner. The ability to adjust to the ball on the fly in the air. I like both of those guys. I really loved Cooks last year. Cephas, I thought he should have been drafted. I've been on record saying that. I mocked him to the Jaguars many times. I mocked him to other teams throughout day 3. I think that Joshua Cephas is probably going to have the inside track at making this team as the final wide receiver. And I think that that could be a really good thing for the Jaguars. I think he's a talented football player. Josh Peterson and Josiah DeGuara, two kind of back of the roster tight ends competing to try to make it here. Both had good days. Josh Peterson, obviously, Doug Peterson's son. I think he caught 3 passes, 1 in the end zone. Josiah DeGuara had a nice catch over the shoulder as well down the field. You had Anton Harrison limited today. Just wanted to give a little update on that. I didn't see the kickers. I saw them out there. I didn't see them kicking any field goals. Not sure if I just missed that, but I did not see Cam Little or Riley Patterson really get that competition heated up yet. Late in practice, a little funny note here. Mac Jones, he was having some fun. It was good to see him out there with the Jaguars back in his hometown. He obviously is happy for this opportunity, happy to be back here, but he took off and ran in a team period and juked a defender, did the Heisman to another defender, ran into the end zone, was celebrating a little bit. Obviously, I think he would have slid if that was live. But it was just cool to kind of see his personality come out a little bit and him having some fun out there. Overall, I think this is a pretty vanilla practice. You did see it get a little bit competitive during some of the team periods, but you're going to just keep building up. And again, the main goal here is to learn, to get reps, to stay healthy. So I think the Jaguars accomplished all that here today for their first OTA. They're going to have more OTAs throughout the week. I don't think the next media availability for OTAs is until next week, but we will be out there with more Jaguars coverage. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out ginjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear, become a channel member right here on YouTube. Y'all have a good one.